Hello, this is Michael, KG7M, and I'm currently working on a Sangean ATS-909 or Radio Shack DX-398. Came in both iterations. And this is the display board. And the previous owner changed the LED lamps, but he didn't do it properly. So they're a high output lamp, and they're wired in to an existing low output circuit, so they don't light up unless you're on AC power, and then even then they're quite dull. So we're going to start by taking the shield off of this, and we'll put a little flux there, and then we're going to use a solder pullet. And we're using a little bit larger iron so that we're not on there a long time. Okay, that's the first one. Get the second one now. See? One on the side. Okay, so now at this point we've unsoldered the shield and it's ready to come off. There we go. And we can now get at these LEDs, which is there and there. And we have switched to the smaller tip soldering iron, 22A. I've had these for, gosh, about 85, 95, 05, 15, about 35 years. I put one on the smaller wattage iron, and no new tips on the larger wattage iron. All right, so we're going to put some flux here. This isn't necessary to do, but it does make it flow a little better. The previous owner didn't take the shield off. He took the this encoder off. You can see where it's shiny solder on there. Been resoldered, and he took the encoder off here. And that's not good because you warm this thing up too much, you're going to ruin it. And you can put another encoder in, but you're going to have, it sits on a funny bracket. It'd be really hard to find a replacement. There's not replacement parts really available for these anymore unless you find a completely broken one that you want to disassemble and rob parts off of. So let's get back over here where we were and see those LED. There's that LED. There's one. They're real close to that, and then the other one is on the opposite end over here. So we put some flux, and we go to tin our iron. We go in there. And get the old solder sucker out. Okay. And one at a time here. There's one. And we're going for two here. That's here. Not flowing very good there. Let's put a little solder on the end here. Alright, let's try that again. There we go. Now we want to orient this back the way it came off. So okay, now that we have this unsoldered with a solder pullet, we're going to push it back from the back side of the board. Come around here to the front. There it is right there. And we're going to pull them out of there. There we go. Like I said, the gentleman that did this before me was talented. Did a good job on this. So let's go to the parts bin and see what we can find. Be right back. Okay, well, I'm just using one of these inexpensive replacement kits off of Amazon. They don't cost very much. I don't know how good the quality is off of some of this Chinese stuff. I'm starting to wonder now. And this LED is way bigger than the one that came out of here. Wow. I don't think it's going to fit in there. Well, oh boy. The lead spacing looks to be okay. Let's see here now. What if I... Yeah, I'm going to try fitting that into that. You can see here where it's definitely not going to fit in there. It's bigger than the one that came out. When it came out, this mini size. So I'm going to try to file this down. Get my file here. Okay, so we're just going to attempt to file a side of this flat. Get that to fit in there. Just use a little file here. Doesn't take a lot. So I think we're going to do 3 sides of this. Okay. We're going to file the back too. Get it down closer to the board. Let's see here. There we go. There we are. So this is the schematic of the Sangean ATS-909, also known as the Radio Shack DX-398. And this is the schematic of the LEDs. Now these original LEDs only draw 1.5 to 2 volts. So we're putting a more modern, larger LED that draws 3 volts. These are in series, as you can see. We're going to have to, because we're using a larger LED, we're going to have to put these in parallel so they get the full voltage. So I'm going to modify this schematic, and we'll show you that next. Alright, so this is our modified schematic. You can see the modification in the red there. So we're just going to run the 2 light emitting diodes in parallel rather than series. And it looks like we're going to cut a tracer too, and then maybe add a jumper wire. And we'll get to that in a minute here. Okay, so there is where I cut the trace. This trace goes up and around the board, clear up and around to the other side, and then it goes up to see where this, it goes right to that other LED. So that put them in series. That's a lead you see sticking out there. It looks kind of funny. I've got it just temporarily mounted in there. So by cutting that, I'll be able to jumper it. And what we're going to do is we're going to jumper the pluses together and the minus together. And we just need a couple of jumper wires to do it. And it should be very straightforward, and we'll show you that next. Okay, now we've done our jumpering, soldered there. That's where we cut the trace and put our light emitting diodes in parallel rather than series. And these are the high output. This is a high output LED that's been modified, sanded down, so it'll fit on the board. So I'm going to clean the flux off the PC board now. I'm just using 99% grade isopropyl alcohol. Some other technicians on YouTube recommend using lacquer thinner. Well, I'd never recommend using a lacquer thinner. I've worked in the technician on the PC board areas in both Tektronix. I was with Tektronix for, I guess, 7 or 8 years, maybe 10. And with Hewlett-Packard, working in the printed circuit board division for 12 or 13 years. And we used alcohol, never lacquer thinner. You risk ruining your parts and taking a numerical, you take the numerical values off the components as well. You risk that, so it doesn't take a lot. The modern fluxes are, they state that you don't even need to clean them off, but I do like to. Okay, get that cleaned up a little. Looks like the previous owner didn't clean up after his repairs, but no big deal to clean her up a little bit. Alright, so this is the modified schematic of the Sangean ATS-909. You can see here where that was cut right in there and then rewired. And then the way that looks on the layout here, that's the update on the printed circuit board. I cut the trace. Hard to hold this and not be shaky. I cut the trace right there, and then add a jumper from there to there, and from there to there. This dotted wire is a trace on the other side of the board that goes up and over to the other LED. So again, you can see that here. I can get it right spot. There we go. That is the jumpers. And then the LEDs are there. And on the other side of the display, there. Okay, so this is the original ATS-909. And there's what the dial light looked like originally. You can barely see that dang thing. That's the original dial light. Now this is the one I updated. Wow. Wow, what a difference. That versus that. Oh my gosh. I'll go ahead and turn the light on. Now we're in a strong backlight. I'll turn that on. Look at that, even with a strong backlight on. And here's the original. Wow. Quite a difference.